Wasn't there a Terminator movie about this very thing, the rise of the machine?
Only a matter of time.
I guess so.
But before we get to the end of the world and Judgment Day here with these machines, good morning to you all this American morning. I'm TJ Holmes. Thanks for being here.
I'm Kiran Chetry. Glad you're with us. We start with a crushing setback for the parents and friends of Danroy DJ Henry. He's the Pace University student athlete who was shot and killed by police in New York last fall. The Justice Department is
Moving forward.
And there's also a developing story out of Italy this morning. Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi will be tried this morning now that the old regime is out of power. The hunt is on for the money in Egypt. Now, 14 minutes past the hour right now. We're talking money and budgets. Exciting stuff. Maybe it doesn't sound exciting, but it affects all of us. President Obama's money team is getting ready this morning to try to sell this 2012 huge budget proposal to Congress. And today, Treasury Secretary Tim, because I know we have to move on, but when Alex Trebek said, Ken already answered that. I mean, does he process any of that? I mean, that somebody else answered it the same way, or is that not something he can process?
I don't think that's something he can.
52 minutes past the hour. Their actions could be described as heroic, even courageous, but 4 Walmart employees are now fired after disarming a suspected shoplifter who pulled a gun on them. This happened And good morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us. It's Tuesday, February 15th. Glad you're with us on This American Morning. I'm Kiran Chetry.
And hello to you all. I'm TJ Holmes. Also coming up for you this morning, a lot of people talking about Charlie. 23 minutes past the hour now in This American Morning. We could get a Bill of Rights, a passenger Bill of Rights.
Was all fired up on The View. She was blasting the New York Times for leaving her out of an article on the small number of African-American Oscar winners. Goldberg won Best Supporting Actress for 1991's film The Ghost, and she also she got nominated also for The Color Purple as well. But she says the Times had some explaining to do. Here's a look. All right, well, the Times, though, is standing by its story, saying that the error lies with those who misread the story. This is the Times statement. The point of the piece was not to...
Now, a lot of people talking about him this morning, and a lot of people worried about him this morning. He did an interview with Dan Patrick's radio show, a syndicated radio show, and among some of the things that time to get him, because when he falls off that wagon, it's a pretty fast fall, but also he says he recovers quickly, and right now he's in that recovery period. Literally says you got to get him while he's good.
Said he went to the studio and started knocking on the doors. He's ready to go, and they weren't opening the doors. So, sure there'll be a reaction to this today, probably from the studio as well, but we're also going to be hearing from Jane Velez Mitchell. 53 minutes past the hour. It's been just over 5 weeks since Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords was shot in the head, and since then her recovery from this near-fatal brain injury has been nothing short of remarkable, and these are in the words of her doctors. This morning there's some more good news about Giffords' progress, and joining us from Atlanta, Chief Medical Correspondent, our resident neurosurgeon, Sanjay Gupta. Great to see you this morning.
Good morning.
So every day when you hear about this, it just seems like she's leaps and bounds, and her doctors have said that as well. What is the significance of being able to mouth the lyrics to songs and some of the other things we're hearing she's doing?
Let me say a couple things. First of all,
as well, I mean, we're taking for granted all the physical recovery. I mean, in that, you know, there's so much risk while she's there, and of infection and everything else. Is she going to physically look the same or at least similar?
I think so. You know, we're right now
giving us an update on how this is going, and it sounds wonderful. Thanks so much.
You got it.
Top stories coming up after a quick break. We'll be right back. It was not a typical day at work for 4 Walmart employees in Layton, Utah. It's just north of Salt Lake City. They confronted a shoplifter, actually wrestled a gun away from him, and then held him until police could arrive. Well, a week later, Walmart fired all 4, saying they violated company policy. Lori Poulsen and Sean Ray are 2 of the employees who were fired. Lori's the one who got the gun away from the suspect, and they're both joining us this morning from Salt Lake City. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So, Sean, let me just start with you and ask you about what was going on here. I know you guys are both security guards at the store. You're on duty. You see this suspect by the name of Trent Allen Longton. He unwraps a netbook computer, I guess, and puts it underneath his clothing and heads for the door. What did you guys do? Came at you at this point.
Yeah, we were standing between.
To talk to them about getting your job back. That has not happened at this point, and you're considering what your avenues are, potentially legal options as well. Well, thanks so much for coming on and telling your story. Boy, what a day at work, and I'm sorry that it ended up in you guys losing your job. Sean Ray and Lori Poulsen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TJ?
I'm all strung
47 minutes past the hour right now. Charlie Sheen is certainly not holding back. He was recently hospitalized after a reported night of partying with porn stars. Yesterday on the Dan Patrick radio show, he said he's clean and that he's doing it on his own. He called into the show. Here's a listen. Struggles with addiction and trying to beat it. Does this sound like somebody who's on the road to sobriety?
No, this is a train wreck waiting to go off the
I feel like you could try to do some convincing. What would be, you know, for him, what is the upside of throwing all of this away and trying to get sober?
Well, he said when he wasn't drinking.
To think about it, he also talked about the show being on hiatus. You just mentioned, you know, how many people could lose their job. I mean, after he was briefly hospitalized at the end of last month, the show did go on hiatus. And this is what he said when he was asked about whether or not he's able to go back to work. Different people more predisposed to addiction. I mean, do you think you were predisposed to addiction?
Well, I was genetically predisposed because of my dad.
Blueprint. So, you know, if somebody out there thinks, you know what, maybe I could learn a few lessons, check it out. It's a great book, Addict Nation, an intervention for America. Jane Velez Mitchell, always great to see you.
Thank you
Thanks
so much for having me on.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
TJ?
All right.